Hello everybody, welcome to this next video on linear algebra. In this video we are going to discuss dimension of a vector space. Okay, so let us connect it with the last video. In the last video we have seen that given a vector space V, all the bases of that vector space, contains same number of elements. It means that although there are so many bases for a given vector space, but the number of elements in those bases is constant. Therefore, the number of elements is unique quantity. Number of elements in the bases is of a vector space V is a unique quantity, and hence we can put a name for it, and we call that unique quantity as dimension of the vector space. Right, so dimension of a vector space is defined as number of elements in the basis of the vector space, right? And if dimension of vector space, which we write it as this, is equal to n, then we call the vector space as n-dimensional vector space, right? And if this dimension is n, it is a finite number, so we have this as finite dimensional vector space. And if a vector space is not a finite dimensional vector space, if a vector space is not a finite dimensional vector space, then we call it as infinite dimensional vector space. Then that is called an infinite dimensional vector space. Right. Okay, fine. Now let us look at the examples. So we already know that R2, which was 1, 0, 0, 1, for R2, R2 is your x, y, where x, y are in R, and we have seen that 1, 0, 0, 1 is one of the bases of R2, and you count the number of elements here. There are 2 elements, therefore dimension of R2 is 2. Similarly, dimension of R3 is 3 because 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1 is a standard basis. This we have seen. Therefore, dimension of R3 is 3, and dimension of Rn is n. Dimension of Rn is n, and let us look at the dimension of the space Pn. Now what is Pn? Pn is the space of all polynomials. Most of you must say that the dimension of Pn is n, but that is not true. So Pn is space of all polynomials of degree less than equal to n. Now let us look at one of the bases. So the elements in the space look like a1, a0, a1x plus a2x square plus so on an x raised to power n, where ai's are real numbers. Right. Now if you want to have a basis, you see every element px which is in the space is a0 into 1 plus a1 into x plus a2 into x square plus so on an into x raised to power n. So it means that space is span of this set 1, x, x square and so on x raised to power n. And also this set is linearly independent. Right. Therefore it forms a basis for Pn. Now you count the number of elements here. This is, you see 1, 2, n elements, and then 1 is there. So there are n plus 1 elements. There are n plus 1 elements. Therefore, dimension of Pn is n plus 1. Fine. Okay. Now there is one more thing. You know that 0 is a subspace. So it is actually a vector space also. So by convention, the dimension of this space is taken as 0. Right. This is what you have to remember. Now just let us look at an example. And then we are done with dimension. Now I'll give you an example and then we will have one more result for basis. You see, you have this question. Check if 1 comma x minus 2 comma x minus 2 square x minus 2 cube forms a basis for P3 or not. Right, now P3 is the set of all the polynomials of degree less than equal to 3. So let us see if this given set, call it B, is a basis for P3 or not. So this is what we have to check, that whether this quantity here, this set here is a basis for P3 or not. So we know that how to prove that some set is a basis. We need to prove the linear independence of that set, and then we have to prove that that set spans your space. So let us check the linearly independent part. So you have alpha into the first element of the set plus beta into the second element of the set x minus 2, and then gamma into the third element of the set x minus 2 square, and then delta into the last element of the set is equal to 0. Now if you collect the coefficients, this is what you will get. I'll just write alpha minus 2 beta plus 4 gamma minus 8 delta, and then you just open these formulas, right? And then you have, then collect the constant terms, then collect the coefficients of x. You'll get beta minus 2 gamma plus 12 delta x, and then you will have gamma minus 6 delta x square plus delta x raised to power 3 equal to 0. Now you can write the right hand side as 0 plus 0x plus 0x square plus 0x cube. Now if you compare the coefficients, the first thing, that is delta equal to 0, you get delta equal to 0. Then you will get gamma minus 6 delta equal to 0. That will imply gamma equal to 0. Now after that you will have beta minus 2 gamma plus 12 delta equal to 0. Beta minus 2 gamma plus 12 delta equal to 0. Already gamma and delta are 0, therefore beta is 0. And then you will have this alpha minus 2 beta plus 4 gamma minus 8 delta equal to 0. Now you have beta, gamma and delta 0. Therefore you will get alpha equal to 0. So you get alpha equal to beta equal to gamma equal to delta equal to 0. So whenever you have this combination, that alpha into the first element of the set, beta into the second element of the set, gamma into the third element of the set, delta into the last element of the set equal to 0, you get alpha equal to beta equal to gamma equal to delta equal to 0. Therefore the set is linearly independent. Right, now you need to prove the that this set spans your space. That is a tricky one. So next part is, we want to prove, next part you want to prove that the set which is 1 x minus 2 x minus 2 square x minus 2 cube is spans P3, right? So any element in P3 looks like a0 plus a1 x plus a2 x square plus a3 x cube. Now you want to know whether this can be written as linear combination of these elements or not, right? So let us assume that your element which is a0 plus a1x plus a2x square plus a3x cube, it can be actually written as a1 into the first element of the set, a2 in the second element of the set, plus a3 third element of the set, and then you have a4 last element of the set. Just do it. You'll as we have done in the linearly independent part, you'll get a1 minus 2a2 plus 4a3 minus 8a4 plus you will have a2 minus 2a3 plus 12a4 into x. Then you have a3 minus 6a4 into x square, and then you have a4x cube. Now you just compare the coefficient, you will get a4 is equal to a3. So you get a4 is equal to a3. Fine. And then you compare the other coefficient, this a3 minus 6a4 is equal to a2. So you have A3 minus 6A4 is equal to A2, which implies A3 is A2 plus 6A3 because A4 is A3. Right? Similarly, you compare this coefficient and this coefficient, this and this, you'll get A2 equal to A1 plus 2A2 and A1 equal to, you'll get A0 plus 2A1 minus 16A3. It means that you can always write A0 plus A1x plus A2x square plus A3x cube as A0 which A1 which is A0 plus 2A1 minus 16A3 into 1 plus A1 plus 2A2 into x minus 2 plus A2 plus 6A3 into x minus 2 square plus the last element which is A3 into x minus 2 cube. So it means that every element of the space can be written as linear combination of the elements of the given set. Therefore, the set B is a basis for P3. This is a basis for P3. So this is how you can do, right? Now you see here, did you notice that, let me write down that thing, that here you notice that to prove a basis, we need to prove two things, linearly independent and spans. So this part is easier as compared to this part, right? So most of the questions, this part is tougher. So we want to get rid of this thing, right? May or may not. So we will try to, can we have a theorem which, can eliminate this part when we are testing for a given set, whether it is a basis or not. It turns out the answer is yes. So we want to see if, to prove that B is the basis, can we eliminate the checking of this part, span of B is your set, space V, using some theorem. Okay, that is what theorems are for, right? So that theorems generally make your life easier, right? Okay, so it turns out answer is yes. Luckily, you have to smile now. Luckily, answer is yes. And we have the following theorem. What is the theorem? Let me write down the statement. Sometimes this theorem is called n-dimensional theorem, but I am not writing any name. So theorem is, in an n-dimensional vector space V, any set of n linearly independent vectors is a basis, right? So you first understand the statement of the theorem, then we'll prove it. Here we are saying that if you know the dimension of the vector space already, right? So that is the extra information you should have, and most of the times we have. For example, if we are proving for R2, we know the dimension is 2, R3 dimension is 3, Rn dimension is n. For Pn the dimension is n plus 1. So most of the vector spaces we know the dimension in advance. So this theorem is saying that if you know the dimension in advance, then if you take any linearly independent vectors equal to the number equal to the dimension of the vector space, then that is going to form a basis. You see, here we are saying that in an n-dimensional vector space, if you pick any n linearly independent vectors, then that is a basis. It means that you only need to prove the linearly independent part. You don't need to prove the span part, because this is what the theorem is saying, right? So let us prove this theorem. This is very simple. Okay, so let us take n linearly independent vectors v1, v2, vn, right? N linearly independent vectors. To prove that it is a basis, to prove B is a basis for V, we need to prove span of B is V. That is, any V in capital V can be written as linear combination of elements of B. That is what we want, right? Okay, fine. So what you do, choose V in V arbitrarily and then form a set like this. Already you have V1, V2, Vn. You put V also, right? Now this is a set containing n plus 1 elements, right? And dimension of the space is n. Therefore, this set has to be linearly dependent, right? Because we have proved that because dimension of space is n, it means that there is a generating set with n elements, and we already proved that you cannot have a larger linearly independent set in a vector space than the number of elements in the generating set, right? So this set has to be a linearly dependent set. Fine. Okay. Also, v1 is non-zero because this set v1, v2, vn is linearly independent, and we know that in a linearly independent set you cannot have a zero vector. Fine. So we have this set is linearly dependent and the first element is non-zero. Then we have a theorem which says there exists at least one vi, right, where I is from 2 to n and then v also included at the end, such that vi is linear combination of its predecessors, right? Now you see you have this situation v1, v2, vn, v here. If v2 is a linear combination of v1, then that is a contradiction because we are saying these n vectors are linearly independent. And then if your v3 is a linear combination of v1 and v2, that is also a contradiction to the fact that these first n vectors are linearly independent. So till now you cannot have this property true. So it means that only v is left. So v is linear combination of v1, v2, vn. So it means that every vector in v belongs to span of B. Therefore, B is a basis. It means that in an n-dimensional vector space, if you start with any n linearly independent vectors, you will get a basis, right? So, this makes our life easier. So, whenever you know the dimension already, then you can use this. For example, in the last question we have done that 1 x minus 2 x minus 2 square x minus 2 cube is a basis for P3 or not. So you know already that dimension of P3, Pn is n plus 1. So dimension of P3 is 4 and this set contains 4 elements. You see 1, 2, 3, 4. So this set contains 4 elements. Therefore, to prove that this is a basis, you only need to prove that it is linearly independent, right? So you don't need to prove the span part. So you see how a theorem can save you from lot of work, right? So let us do one example. Prove that the set 1, 1, 1, 1, minus 1, 1, 0, 1, 1 is a basis for V3. Right. So let us prove it. Okay. So now you see dimension of V3 we already know is 3. And the set B which is given to us and number of elements in B equal to 3. Therefore, to prove that B is a basis for V3, we need to only prove that B is linearly independent. So that's it. So for that you have alpha into the first element of the set, beta into the second element of the set, gamma into the third element of the set, right, equal to 0, which is actually 0, 0, 0. So you will get alpha plus beta, alpha minus beta plus gamma, alpha plus beta plus gamma equal to 0, 0, 0. From here you get alpha plus beta is 0, alpha minus beta plus gamma is 0, alpha plus beta plus gamma equal to 0. Right, you solve these three, you'll get alpha equal to beta equal to gamma equal to 0. Therefore, set B is linearly independent and hence is a basis. Right, so this is how you prove that a given set is a basis when you already know the dimension. Thank you.